welcome everybody back to the Real Ridiculous Podcast. I'm Shawn.
I'm Loren, and today we have a special guest in the building, my homegirl Christina. What up, Christina?
What up?
How you feeling today?
I'm feeling all right.
I know you said you was a little
Alive.
tired before.
Yeah, it was a long night, but we're here.
Where we getting old.
Mm,
Real talk.
mm.
All right. Let's get right into it. I'm glad we got to have you going here. You are a busy woman. You're not hard to catch up with, but you do obviously like anybody else. You got a life. I'm glad we got to catch you on this Sunday. Um,
Absolutely.
Tell us a little bit about yourself. Who is Christina?
Who is Christina? So Christina currently lives in Brooklyn, New York. From upstate New York. I work as a regional sales manager. I'm passionate about traveling, sports in general. I'm very competitive. I'd say basketball probably being the top. My dog Prince, and just finding ways to have a good time and try new things.
I like that. I like that.
Nice.
I wish more people was like that.
Mm.
So tell us about like how you got into the position that you were in.
So I started with right out of college. So I've been with them about 6 years now. My background is in mechanical engineering. So I went to school for mechanical engineering and found them at a career fair. I actually had an interview. They asked me to interview like right there on the spot the day of the career fair. And I was offered a position. So I started out as a trainee. And over the past 6 years, I think I've had 4 or 5 promotions to get to the point I'm at now. So kind of working as a sales rep and then a sales manager, and then I manage my own branch, and now I'm a regional manager. So I've had a really good run with them, and it's fun. So it's something I enjoy. It's a lot of work, but I enjoy it, so it doesn't make it hard, and I enjoy managing people and seeing their growth, and it's been a great journey.
Nice.
For those of you that weren't listening and ain't do that math, she was basically getting a promotion a year, killing the game.
Yeah, my 5 year plan was to be a branch manager in 5 years, and I did it in like 3 years. So that changed that changed everything. I've just kind of been running with it. Mm.
Yeah, what was that feeling like when you're exceeding those expectations that you laid out there? Like instead of it being 5 years, you're boom, I'm at year 3 and I'm already ahead of where I was projecting to be.
It was definitely very satisfying. And I definitely feel like I was qualified for it and I worked hard for it, and something I always had in the back of my mind. So, cross training while I was in positions early in my career kind of set me up for that. But it was very unique in terms of managing people older than me. So I was probably the youngest manager in the company. So like having to manage people that have been in the company for 20 years, what that looked like, and bringing on new people from college where you're close in age, but you're also their manager, so you can't be their friend, and kind of drawing that line in the sand. I think my first year of managing was a big learning experience for me, and what it takes to manage people and how to be transparent and upfront, but also have to manage people to their performance as well. So there was a learning curve, and I think I adapted very well. And it's something I really enjoy, like something I'm passionate about managing people. I love seeing people come new into their role, not know anything, and then be successful. I've really made mental health a big part of how I manage my team and team bonding. And I think that's like some of the keys to having a successful team is that people feel open coming to you about whatever, whether it be work or their personal life. And I think I've created that culture with my team, which is very satisfying.
I like that. A lot of people don't know that there's a difference between like managing and just straight up being an asshole. Like you gotta
Facts.
I'll give an example. When I worked at this liquor store, my quote unquote manager, who's actually like a friend of mine now, the way he would word a job assignment to give me made it seem like I was helping the company. Granted, I'm primarily just like putting a bottle on a shelf, but he wouldn't be like, "Yo, you need to do this, this, that, and the third." He would be like, "Yo, what you're doing now is cool, but I suggest, yo, you should do it like this. If it doesn't work out, let me know, but you should do it like this instead, and then maybe blah, blah, blah. The way he worded shit made me feel like, yo, I'm really helping out here instead of, yo, I'm doing like mad chores at work right now. It's like I said, there's a difference between being a manager and being an asshole. And I feel like, Christina, I know you got that. Like, don't get me wrong, there's times probably in meetings where you got like flex your power and be like, bruh, you're not doing too good right now, B. Like, you gotta step up. But
Right,
I
right.
feel like being that I know you word it in like a professional yet courteous way.
Yeah, no, exactly. I think people work harder when they feel the job they're doing has value. So
Right.
exactly what you said.
Manager, step your shit up.
Yeah, because there's no
Oh,
reason to like be a tyrant, you know. So
facts. Facts. So was this what you always wanted to do growing up, or was this just like bestowed upon you?
I feel like a lot of people had like, oh, this is what I wanted to be when I was growing up, and I don't think I had that so much. I always liked math, I liked science. I was always good at it, and I was always like, oh, I'm going to do something with this. So that's how I ended up in school as an engineer. And then I think once getting into school as an engineer, I was like, okay, well, I definitely still like math and science. I'm enjoying the curriculum, but there's no way I want to be behind a desk every day, like looking at drawings or doing math. I'm too much of a social person for that. So this honestly just kind of like fell into my lap almost in terms of like the elevator industry is a hidden industry. People don't even realize it exists. Like they ride elevators all the time, but no one knows anyone for the most part that works at a company that is in the elevator industry. So definitely not something I was like, oh, I'm gonna work for when I grow up. But it's a blessing that I found them. I really love it. I talk about all the time. I talk about elevators all the time. I still use like in terms of talking about technical things, like when speaking about an elevator, there's a lot of mechanical parts, so I definitely use that part of my career. But I went back to school and got my master's 100% paid for by my company.
oh, fire.
Right.
For business. So I think like I definitely see my future being more along the business line and managing and sales and training. I think long term I would love to be like a president for Otis for a different country. I want to live in a different country possibly. But yeah, I can see myself being with the company for a long time, which is not was not common anymore.
Yeah, like you're building a career.
Exactly.
A lot of people don't look at that, especially being young. Also, it's like, oh, this is just a job, just pay the bills. That's it. You have some extra perks of do you have extra perks of traveling also, right? You said.
Yeah, so because I'm a regional manager, nobody I actually manage is currently, I'm hiring someone right now, but in the state of New York. So everyone I manage, I need to travel to if I want to see them. I'm not required to travel, so which is nice. I kind of do it on my own flexibility. But I have people all across. So my region is Maine to North Virginia, um, as far out as about Indiana. So anywhere within that area, I can kind of travel whenever I want in terms of going to see them and spending time with them, making sure they're doing what they need to do and do it as like a training opportunity as well.
Like, do you see yourself as like how other people see you, like as a manager, or you still see yourself as like your younger self, just doing adult things?
I think there's two sides to my personality. I definitely, you know, I see myself as a manager. I feel I'm prepared for my job. I think I do my job well. I try to bring a lot of fun into being a manager, which probably comes across as very corny often. But I also think there's like, there's layers to everyone. So like what I'm now outside of my job, I'm definitely, a little bit more serious at work than I am outside of my job. I'm very competitive, which something that transfers into my work. Like we're selling, so we're going up against competitors and it's very exciting to get wins. So I think that part of my personality definitely carries over. Um, I play sports, so I'm just naturally a competitive person. And that's something I'm able to also have in my job, which is nice. But no, I mean, I'm still young and I still feel young. I don't know. I guess I look at myself of having many layers. Not that I'm a different person at work versus outside of work, but I feel like I'm in the position I want to be in, and yeah.
So let's take it back a little bit. Let's go back to your childhood. How was your life growing up? Was it good? Was it hard? Easy?
I think life was, pretty easy. I think, and that's kind of based on sacrifices that my parents made in order for it to be easy. So, went to like Catholic school my whole life. So, there's some privilege that comes along with doing that, of course. Um, I played sports my whole life, which is something that brought me a lot of joy. I've always been involved with a lot of clubs. To this day, I'm on the board for my basketball league. So, volunteering my time, something I'm passionate about. Um, I think I was exposed to a lot of things as a child, but not anything that, could put me in harm's way. Or I think I was sheltered from things that I shouldn't be around, which is, what children should be. And that definitely, played a part in terms of how I grew up. But no, I had a good school life. I had a good family life. My parents were separated. So, I'm navigating that and kind of going back and forth between my mom's and my dad's and having siblings. Um, yeah, I think I had a great childhood. I like look at a lot of people who like didn't like middle school or didn't like high school growing up, and like those were some of the best times of my life. I'm still very close with a lot of my high school friends. We're actually like going on a ski trip next weekend. Um, so I think a lot of people like don't have a lot of friends from high school, it seems. So like that's something I think my school did a really good job in terms of making friendships that lasted and still having those connections with people I even like went to elementary school at this point.
How many siblings do you have? Are you very close to them?
So I have four siblings. I have an older brother. I have two younger brothers and two younger sisters. Sisters, sorry, five siblings. And I have a nephew also and a niece. I've got there's a big age gap between my younger siblings and me, so I've gotten much closer to them growing up. My older brother is 6 years older than me, and then my next closest sibling is 8 years younger than me. So, him going to college, my younger sister's in college now. We've gotten a lot closer now that I can relate more to them than when, they were like 2 and I'm 10. We're not doing anything the same. We're not doing any of the same things. We're not interested in any of the same things. They're actually my brother and his girlfriend are actually coming out to visit me next week, so I'm looking forward to that, or next month. But yeah, we're able to like chill and relate to things. I can talk to my sister about things she's going through in college. My sister's actually queer. I'm queer, gay. So we're able to relate on that point, which is something I didn't know was going to happen, which is pretty exciting. Um, my older brother, I grew up with him most because my parents were separated. That's who I live with. So, we were very close from a young age. And so now I'm getting closer with all my siblings. My stepbrother and my stepsister I'm pretty close with. That's my nephew and my niece are from my stepsister. So seeing them anytime I go home and get to spend time is something that's really nice. Something I did a lot during the pandemic too that I hadn't got to do so much in the past, which probably helped with how close we are now.
So you said that both of your parents are separated. Well, how old were you when they were split up?
I think I was in like second grade, maybe third grade, and they split up. They had been together for 12 years.
Wow.
Um, and they split up, so we're never married, just together. I've always had both my parents in my life, so fortunate for that. But I was like going back and forth weekends between parents, and then like every other summer with parents. So although I spent most of my time at my mom's house, I've always like gone to my dad's house and spent times with him and my siblings, and that's how I was able to meet them once my stepmom came into the picture. And yeah, now like anytime I go home, I go to both my parents' house. It's nice. I get two Christmases, I get two birthdays. Um,
Nice.
so yeah, there's some benefits that come along with it as well.
People say that like when both parents are present in a child's life, they're more likely to be successful.
Yeah, that's an interesting point. I think my parents definitely, always push me to be the best, and I think ever since having siblings, there's a sense of like I don't know if accountability is the right word, but you want to be a good role model. So, making sure I'm doing the right thing because I know they're looking up to me was something I don't know that I felt the pressure of, but just something I always kept in the back of my mind. Like, is this something I want to see them? I want my siblings or my younger siblings to see me doing. Not so much my older sibling, like whatever. He's grown. He makes his own decisions. I'm not influencing that. But my younger siblings, it was always something I kept in the back of my head. And I want to be a certain way so that they know that this is something they can achieve or this is something they should be open to do, and being straight up with them.
Yeah, leading by example. That's good.
Exactly.
What's one of the hardest things you've gone through in your 29 years of living?
Oh, wow, that's a tough question. Okay, I have an answer, which I'm
Hey,
surprised. I don't know. This the toughest thing I can think of right now that like had a big impact on me was getting cut from the basketball team my junior year, I think it was, or senior year. Um, so like always I've played basketball my whole life. Like I've mostly played I didn't start playing until seventh grade, so I had like a late start definitely playing, but I've always played pickup. Like I've always played pickup with guys. That's how I met most of my friends in college. Like all of my guy friends I met playing basketball, like probably literally the first day of college. Like I was like, okay, me and my roommate, like let's go to the gym. But so yeah, so when I got cut from the basketball team my junior year, it was it definitely had a big impact on me because I thought I shouldn't have been cut and I had. So I had to kind of change what I was doing. I still wanted to play a sport, ended up running track that season, and that was something, worked out really well for me. We were state champs and so on and so forth, ran in a bunch of big races, pen relays being one of them. But I don't know, just kind of taught me how to adjust. I think like, playing basketball, you learn so much about like teamwork and I made a lot of my good friends through basketball. So not playing with them anymore was a hard hit to me, but it was just like an early stage of you're not gonna get everything you want. Like sometimes you need to pivot, you need to adjust. Like I could have easily just like not done anything that season and just stayed home, which a lot of people did that didn't make the team. But like, I changed sports, I adjusted, I made new friends in a different sport. I still put my all into that sport, really enjoyed running track. So I think that was a pivotal moment in my life. Um, and I could have easily like stopped playing the sport of basketball had I become bitter about it, and that would have definitely changed my life to this day. Like I play in two basketball leagues currently. Most of my friends in the city I've met through basketball. I've met my girlfriend through basketball. So had I done that, I think my life would have shaped up very differently.
when you met your girlfriend, she was busting your ass or not?
Never, never.
Yo.
I think she's better than me, but defensively, she would never bust my ass.
Talk
Points
that
for me.
shit. Now that's fire though. That's fire though. I feel like every hooper, even if they get killed, they'll never admit that shit. But that's in
Yeah,
our blood though.
exactly.
I still feel like I could beat LeBron 11-9, but
Wow.
clearly
It'll
that
be a
would
good fight, but I'll come out in the end.
facts. Shit is crazy. So you mentioned bisexual. Um with this in high school, did it affect you at all or not really?
No. So I've dated men most of my life. And so therefore I mean, no one really questions it, right? You're dating men, no one's like, oh, you could possibly be bisexual or, even gay in some instances. I went to all girls school, so they were around, other
Right,
gay
right,
people were
right.
around, and I never even considered it. I've always been like kind of attracted to girls, but nothing that I was fine dating men. Then fast forward to college, I think that's when I kind of thought about it more. And it wasn't really until after I graduated college that I like dated the first woman seriously, and I haven't dated any men since then. I'm still attracted to both sexes, and I don't identify as lesbian because I'm not a lesbian. I'm attracted to both sexes, but I'm dating a girl, and have been for the last couple of years, and things are gravy. So men are trash. No, I'm just kidding.
No,
Yeah,
I
I was
couldn't
gonna
say no. We ain't shit.
yeah, I was gonna say, like, is the dynamic better, like, or is it like some instances is it worse? Are there things that you feel like your woman that she could provide over a male counterpart?
Mm, that's a tough question. I think there's pros and cons to both.
Mm.
Um,
Nice.
I
Okay.
think with dating women, I think women in general are more in tune with their emotions, and um, it's easier to relate to a woman because you're going through similar things. I think with men, you get other there's other pros. So, like usually men are like bigger. You get that like sense of security. There's different like, kind of societal standards that come with dating a man and like what they're supposed to do versus what you're supposed to do. So you can like lean into that, which is nice. Like, I'm very independent. Like, let's say I'm bringing in some heavy stuff. I'm completely fine with doing that. But when I'm dating a man, maybe I'm like, oh, can you grab that bag? Take it down to the
Right,
so,
right.
um, yeah, I think there's pros and cons to both. I think like when I was in a relationship with men, I don't like gender, like what are they called? Gender norms, I'll say. But like in terms of like this is what a man's supposed to do, this is what a woman's supposed to do. Like I just like whoever I'm dating, like it should be an equal partnership. There's one person doesn't need to do more than another. There's going to be times where obviously like someone's doing more than someone on a one off basis, but in the end, like as long as we're both putting in equal effort and whether it be around the house, effort in terms of the relationship, effort in terms of like what we're doing, planning, that's really what it comes down to in the end.
So
That's
like
fine.
being that you have like the mechanical engineering background, anything in the in your house gets broken, you're like, I'm on it already. I already know how to fix it, right?
I actually love putting things together and like playing with things, but actually my girlfriend's also an engineer. So
Oh shit.
I like call her my IT person, which she would hate to hear, but I'm like, hey, like this isn't working. Maybe someone should figure it out. And usually that's her. Um, but no, I love building things more. Say I'm more like, and rather than like technical computer things, I like to like build things, put things together. Like that's another thing. Like so, like growing up with, I'll say a single parent, like in a single parent home. Um, I was like always like building things for my mom when she bought things and like putting things together and like carrying the heavy things. So I think that was something early on that kind of broke down those gender norms that maybe everyone didn't get that had two parents in the home, because that's something like, oh, your dad will do it, like your dad will bring in the heavy stuff in the car, don't worry about it. That was something like my mom was like, oh, can you get that for me? So that was something I was doing early on.
I was gonna say, like being in a single parent home, I feel like that has more advantages. I'm speaking personally for me too, because I'm an only child, and only child and single parent home. So long story short, it's like you're put in positions, like many positions where you just gotta figure it out. You can't really rely on anybody. Mom might be at work right now. You at
Yeah.
home, something go. I gotta eat. It's like you gotta figure. That's how I learned how to cook. I'm like, I can either
Yeah.
sit and wait here till my mom gets home and be hungry as hell, or I mean, it might be burnt, but hey, I got some pasta. Like,
Right,
gotta
right. No,
figure it
that's a
out.
good point. Like, I think, and I hope I didn't cut you off, but like in
You good?
college, people are always like, you went out partying. Like, how did you make it to class? Like, I could probably count the number of times on my hands I skipped class in college. Like, I didn't do it. And people are like, how are you making it to class? Or like, how are you making it to work? I was working like 3 jobs at one point. Like, they were all different schedules, but you get that mindset of like, you just need to do what needs to be done. Like even to this day, it's like if I make a commitment to something, I'm doing it. There's no like I'm just gonna flake last minute. I think that is part of what you learn in like being a single family home, like single parent home. Like they did whatever they need to do, and like that's just like that's just how I go about things. There's not a question of whether I'm gonna do it. It's like I'm gonna do it, and X, Y, and Z is what I need to be able to do that. Then that's what I'm gonna do. Like whether I'm tired, whatever. Like this is what needs to get done. It's gonna get done.
Facts. And I feel like in the dating realm, that's an attractive trait to have too.
I hope so.
The word. So it like works out in the end. I remember
Yeah.
when I first transferred to Cortland and I was in the laundry room and I would stand there and read because I still had that like Albany mindset of somebody's gonna steal my shit, but whatever. So I would be in there reading, and this one girl came in and she was just standing there, and you know me, so I was like, "Yo, you good?" And she was like, "I don't know how to do any of this shit." In my head, I'm like, "My nigga, like you're 20. How do you not know how to do laundry?" So I said it to her in a nice way, but I was like, "Yo, how do you not know how to do laundry?" And she was like, "I never had to do it growing up. My mom always did it for me." So I'm like, as much as I hated my mom for making me do chores, in my head, I'm like, "Yo, good look, mom, because I'm not trying to be out here looking like her."
Yeah, exactly.
Wait, you
Must
didn't
be
help her?
nice, but also you're gonna need to figure it out one day.
I
You
mean,
didn't help her, Lauren?
I helped her with one load. I was like, you do this, and then you transfer to the dryer, and then that's it.
You
So
told her
hopefully
this.
she remembered that.
You told her to separate the whites from the colors.
See, no, because I don't personally do that shit. So
Oh no.
yeah, I'm one of those. I'm lazy as hell. That's why
Gotta separate.
my socks be looking blue as hell.
Oh my god, the White Sox they blew. Oh man,
Word, that's real shit. I ain't gonna be on here lying. I do not separate my shit. Me and yo, so I'll edit what I just said. Me and my girl just started separating the whites and shit, but I will say it's more her than me.
Mm.
Real talk.
all right,
Hopefully that means you just have a lot of neutral colored things.
yo word.
Per se. Who would you say, and your girlfriend doesn't count, who would you say is your closest friend and why?
Hmm.
And whoever's listening, you can't get jealous at this because who's to say that she's your closest friend? Don't be a hater. Just listen.
Facts.
Yeah, I think my closest friend is my friend Brie. And she lives in California, so West Coast, so different time zone. But even with that, I know, like I just saw her actually when I was in California recently, but I can always count on her. She's always someone I can just, there's those people that you can FaceTime whenever you want, and there's people that's like, hey, like let's FaceTime this day. She is someone I will call whenever and she'll pick up and we can chat for hours or we can chat for 5 minutes and it's like no time has gone and someone I can count on for things and she can come to me with whatever. I don't have to worry about her judging me. She was actually my roommate in college for 2 years along with my cousin. So, we got really close through that and it's a friendship I've maintained and it's a friendship that I don't think, I never have to question. So I think
Mm,
that's my closest friend. I have a lot of very close friends, especially in the area. And we usually hang out as a group, so it'd be hard to like pick one versus another and say they're my closer friend. But I have a very tight knit group of friends locally, my community that I appreciate as well. And I think like having a community is really important, especially not living as close to home as I could. So
right.
people I can rely on for things, and also I can just walk over to some of my friends' house. They live so close, so that's really nice. And share all my special moments with them and share their special moments. I have friends that are having babies and getting engaged and celebrating birthdays and just knowing those are my people I can lean on is beautiful.
Fire.
Does that kind of pressure of people around you getting married and having children, like you don't have any kids at the moment, right?
No, no, no kids, just a
All right,
dog. So that's my
just a
child.
dog. Do you feel any kind of pressure from seeing that your friends are having children and getting married? Do you feel that need or want for that?
I don't. It's nice being the auntie. So I love that. I love that they're having kids. I love being around kids, but I think actually more recently than ever in the past, I've considered what life would be like without kids. So that's actually something, I'm like been thinking about more than ever in the past. I think in the past it's always been like, oh, I'm gonna have kids. In fact, I want to have twins. And then my friends just had twins, and I'm like, nope, I don't want to have twins. I don't know what I was thinking. Now that I'm actually seeing it, I think one would be fine. Or like none would be fine. Like I really enjoy traveling. I mentioned I want to like, work in a different country. So are those things I want to do with a kid? Something I'm personally thinking about. But no, right now, like my dog is my child, and my girlfriend has two cats, so we have two cats and a dog in my house. We're gonna have some fish very soon, and that's enough of a responsibility for me at the moment.
Nice.
Word.
Yeah.
Mm,
'Cause you can't do, traveling and you can't do all the things you want to do when you got kids, you know?
yeah, I like your kid comes first, even though it's I think more than before people have prioritized themselves, and that's important. Even when you have kids, you have to take care of yourself in order to take care of your kids. But there's also a level of sacrifice that comes along with it, and I'm personally not in a place to be that I want to do that right now, and not out of any selfishness, but I'm like, maybe I don't need to do that. Maybe that's not what I need to do in order to fulfill the life I want to have. And I don't know if that'll change. It's not something I ever thought of in the past. It's something I'm thinking of now. And yeah,
Yeah.
I don't have a great answer. I don't know. I'm just
No,
kind of
no.
going with how life takes me right now. And kids are not anywhere in the near future.
That's a good. I mean, I think there's a lot of misconceptions about that, and people feel bad. They tend to feel bad when they don't want that, and they just want to live for themselves. I mean, I don't have any kids. I don't ever plan on having kids. I think they're like, I can't stand kids, to be honest. So it's like, I don't ever want that for me. So I totally understand, and I don't think anybody should feel bad for it. So it's like you
Yeah,
got to live your
exactly.
life.
Exactly.
So
I could be the aunt. I'll be the, hopefully rich auntie that I can take a kid for, a week or a weekend and then give them back. That sounds
there,
exciting.
there you go.
That ass. I'm gonna be the same way. I always find it funny because I be saying the same shit. Like I'm never having kids. But we always say that well, not you personally, Christina, but I'll say like, yo, I hate kids. Yo, we were kids once too. Like, shit's-
Yep.
that shit is mad funny to me. How
That's
you
the
hate
thing.
how you hate what you once were. Like,
Word. That's the
I
thing. I
like
do.
kids.
I do hate what I was.
I think kids are funny. I don't have any issues with kids, but they also they're nonstop, like
yeah, for
That's
real.
what I'm saying. Like, yo, oh my God. Like, anytime I'm around a kid, yo, they just don't fucking sit down. It's like, bro, like, relax, man. It ain't, I mean, the thing is like, you're a kid. I get it. You got to enjoy yourself, and you should. But it's like, bro, let me at least get you to the playground before you start fucking bugging out, you know?
right. Like my dog. I'd take him out and like run him around, get him tired.
Crazy.
Ass. Like back in the day, I think we talked about this already on the podcast, Sean. But back in the day, like when I would get on my grandma's nerve, she would be like, "Go outside and play," and I'd be like, "I bet."
Word.
Nowadays, kids get to go play on the iPad. It's like it's not the same thing, man.
Yeah, it's sad.
Yeah,
Word.
you're not burning out that energy, man,
They're
You're just
not.
sitting there.
They don't have social skills either.
That
Not
ass.
all of them,
Word.
but so many just are so used to talking through phones and screens. Like I interview some younger people, and I'm like, "You thought that was appropriate for an interview? Like that's how you're answering this question? You're good with that? You're finishing there? You sure you don't want to add anything else? Like,
Shit is
and
sad.
this is what you're wearing. Okay, good. Like,
Yeah,
times have changed.
it's
It
gonna be
is.
really weird in like 20 years.
I will say I like where things are going, but it's definitely a shift compared to what I'm used to.
Mm. And so you said you like where things are going.
Yeah, I
I
was gonna
feel
say
the
I don't.
complete opposite.
Me too. Opposite.
I think like honestly, kids are smarter. So I mean, that plays a huge part in terms of like how things are adapting and changing and how quickly like technology is changing. I definitely think kids need to be more social and in tunes with their social skills, but like, things that were not prevalent when we were growing up, like even like therapy or mental health and stuff like that are important. Like self care, that wasn't a thing when we were growing up. No one was talking about that. I love that that's a thing now. Like people being able to be open about their sexuality, that was not a thing that was prevalent when we were growing up. People saying they don't want to have kids, that was not a thing when we were growing up. It was just like, oh yeah, when you grow up, you're gonna marry a man, you're gonna have kids, and that's gonna be your life. Like you can there's a lot more freedom and open-mindedness, I think, about what people can do with their lives these days than I personally feel was in the past. But maybe that's just my experience. But yeah, in terms of that, I still think kids need social skills, and I think we'll find a way around that. Like remote learning is not going to help with that at all right now, but I like the how things are changing and things are being challenged more, and I like that.
I feel you. So it's weird. Like I still disagree. I think the world is about to be a shitty place in a few years. But with everything you just said, I agree with. The only uh, I'll play
Like
devil's
caveat.
advocate by saying this. This is the only thing I'll say to what you said. With
Yes, please
all
do.
of that freedom comes negativity in a way. It's like cracking the door open because, as you know, and I know you've been in situations, there's always someone that's going to ruin the good. There's always that one person. There's always that one fucking guy. And it's like, yo, what the fuck, man? Everything was good, but then this asshole right here just ruined the shit. Like you said, things are being challenged, kids are smarter, but, and you did kind of harp on this too, a downfall or a negative of that is their social skills are slowly deterring.
Hmm.
I had
Mhm.
a conversation with somebody probably like a few days ago, and he was saying how his daughter, she's intelligent, her whole class is smart, but he feels that when because I think she's like in first grade, when she gets to like fifth grade and maths are like a thing of the past, they're not gonna know how to read faces and body language. That's gonna be something that's late learned.
Mm.
Um,
Yeah.
and I never thought about that shit. I never thought about that. But he was like, yeah, having a kid, I'm like thinking of shit like this. So like, yeah, we smarter and shit with technology, but it's like you try to have a conversation with somebody and you disagree with something they say and they start crying and you're like, yo, why you crying? And it's like, I don't know how to handle this neglect and like you don't agree with me. It's like, nigga, chill. Like but I feel
Yeah.
like
Wow,
it's so
that's interesting. That's
word.
probably true too, and so sad. I would challenge that and say I don't think I don't think kids when I was growing up really, yes, we can read body language, but how much did we grow up and like learn about emotions? I feel like we learned like you're either happy or you're sad or you're angry. Like you don't learn all of the emotions between that, like disappointment and, anxious, like all of those So at the same time, I think that is being more learned now. And in this case, probably like, I mean, she's not wearing a mask at home. So like she's going to get some of that, but like
Right.
hopefully she's learning other things to kind of substitute that in the meantime, like she can better express herself in terms of communication even though she can't read body language as well, and that's a challenge of being a parent and having to you have to fill in those gaps that school isn't right now, like which is a lot on a parent, which is another reason I don't have kids, but I
Facts.
think there's like there's pros and cons to everything, so
Do
yeah.
you do you think that there's such thing as too much freedom?
Mm. Mm.
Absolutely. I think that there's such a thing. uh,
Um, do you think that that's currently going on in the U.S.?
too
Ooh.
much freedom. Hmm.
Ooh.
That's a tough question. I enjoy all of the freedoms I have. I don't think anything I have right now is too much freedom. Um, yeah, so I can't think of an example of something that I'm like, oh, I have way too much freedom on this. I think
I'll
I
give
think
you
we
I'll
are
give you an example. So
okay. Yeah, that'd be great.
America, land of the free, home of the brave, right? You got
Hmm.
a lady, and this is real shit. I'm not making this up. And you probably already know
Okay.
the story. You got a lady out here selling bags of her farts to people.
Oh my God. Oh yeah.
I
It
feel
was
like
the
that's too
jars.
much
They're
freedom.
mason jars.
Oh, my
Yeah.
fault. Excuse me.
Mason
Mason
jar.
jars.
Yes.
Yeah, because it would leak out if it was in a bag.
Right.
Yes.
Pardon me.
Gotta hold the profit together.
Exactly.
So when we going into business, it's like nah, but yo, I feel like that's an example of like that's like too much freedom. So the reason why I say it's like this is gonna open up a can full of worms. So it's like you got somebody like that. You got a lady who's just out here selling farts, right? And then you
Hmm.
got somebody else down the street. He didn't eat today, and he doesn't know when he's gonna eat again. This lady's making mad bread off of perverts, and homeboy's still trying to get by just to get like something in his belly. It's like first world freedoms. I don't fuck with those shits. Ever since I came back from Brazil, I'm just like first world problems are crazy. That's why I
Mm.
asked like, do you feel like there's too much freedom? I don't know if I should use the word freedom or
Yeah, I think freedom might be a bad word choice
word.
because okay, so I'm gonna take this to a whole other level. I think there you have to look at like the systemic problem of both sides. So whoever's selling their farts, like good for them. They're making a profit off of something that they have, and like I'm all about that. Like entrepreneurship, good for you. Whoever's buying it, questionable. But if someone's buying it, there's a market for it. Sell it. Like everyone should be able to have their own grind, and if that's what you want to do, then so be it. And if people are buying it, then why not? Um, on the other hand, like the person you're talking about in terms of like not having a meal, like I don't think that's a lack of freedom. I don't think that the person who's selling their fart is like at fault for that. But it's likely, no one wants to be in that position. So like, what's the real reason that person is in that position? Like, did they lose their job? Like, was it that their parents weren't able to afford, so they didn't get a good education, so they were when they were younger, and this is just kind of like a product of the system. Um, I don't think that's a lack of freedom. I think that's sometimes you're just like born into a bad situation and it's not always easy to get out of. So yeah,
That's a
I guess to
fact. Yeah,
answer your question,
I feel like freedom isn't the word.
yeah, I think
But But I do have something else though. I was talking to my girl about this the other day. Like drug dealers and shit, I don't know why they get a bad rap. I don't understand it. Now the ones I will say this though, the ones that lace their shit, their scumbags go to hell. But like you said, there's a market, you gotta make some money. All right, cool. It's not my fault that somebody is dumb enough to want to stick a needle in their arm just to get high. I got the product, I gotta make money. If you dumb enough to do this shit, then here, my nigga. Why do drug dealers get a bad rap?
Yikes. I'm not for anyone selling anything that can kill anyone. So
That's a fact, but you're dumb enough to do it. You know drugs are bad. You know what's going to happen if you go down this path, yet you still do it. How is that my fault?
you're investing your time, energy, and money in something that you know could possibly kill someone. What does that say about your morals?
That scumbag,
Well,
definitely a scumbag. But
well, hold
but
on a second, Christina. You said that you went to a party yesterday, correct?
Yeah, I did.
You do you drink alcohol?
I do.
You drive a car?
Not when I'm drinking. No, I will
No,
not say I'm
well, I didn't mean like back to back, but yeah, just in general. You drive a car.
Yeah, I drive a car. Yes.
You fly on airplanes.
Yes.
You take trains.
Yes.
Okay, these things have been known to kill people, so it's
But what
like
are the probability of that versus the
it doesn't.
probability of the
No, wait
drug?
a minute. You said you're not in favor of people selling things that kill people. No, I'm just fucking
Yeah.
with you. I'm just like,
No, no,
I was
no.
gonna
That's
say,
it. That's
bro,
it.
get the
That's I
fuck
like
out.
that. I like that point.
no, I'm
Um.
just kidding. I'm
Like,
just
bro,
kidding.
get out of here, man.
No, I'm just
Yeah.
kidding. I'm
You're
kidding.
right. I'm walking everywhere from here on out.
I'm just kidding.
Yo, because you look at me, I was like, damn, he kind of got a point, and I was like, nah, wait, hold up.
Yeah. When
No,
like one in every like 100,000 planes crash and like, one in every two people overdose, you look at things a little differently.
yeah. The statistics show. Yeah, I understand.
I'm a math
Word,
person, the statistics. I'm with it.
Yeah, I'm
Mhm.
just playing. I'm just playing.
No, I feel you.
word. But yeah, all I was saying was if like I don't know, and I was talking about this the other day too. I feel like I really lack empathy for people who are quote unquote, for lack of a better phrase, like stupid as fuck. Like you, we growing up, drugs are bad. Point blank. Period. Weed, we can make an argument, but fucking heroin, bro. There are no good. I've seen no good things come from that. So if you choose to do that shit, even smoking cigarettes, how am I bad for selling you something that you're dumb enough to do it? I don't know. I don't get it.
It's an
I don't think
enabler. I
everyone
think
that
that's
goes
what
to
it is.
drugs is dumb though. I think some people do it to like, you know, fill a fill a gap they have in their life for one reason or another, or they're at their lowest and that's what they feel like they need to do to be at their highest. So
Right?
there's a lot of things that come along with that. While I'm not for drug use, like I understand that different situations put people in a place where they think that's what they need and that's their coping mechanism. Like some people cope by going to the gym, some people cope by doing drugs, and you can't tell someone what's right for them to cope. They have to make that decision on their own.
That's a fact. They still dumb as hell though.
There's
Uh,
better decisions, I would agree.
I think
Word.
drug dealers get the bad rap just because they're enabling it. That's what it is. Because they
Exactly.
couldn't get high if it wasn't supplied. You know what I mean? So I think both parties are in the wrong.
Yeah. No,
Could
that's
agree there. I could agree there. So you telling me I shouldn't go cop these 2 bricks?
Yo,
don't
as long as
do
I can
it.
use them first, say,
Christina, you hiring? It's like nah.
Unless it's a BOGO sale, I wouldn't do
Yo,
it.
yo,
gotta get the sale.
gotta get the sale.
All about a good discount.
Oh, I got all right. So I got another question for you. So I'm agreeing with you again. When we were in high school, you figured this was like I graduated '09. I think you were 2010, right?
Yeah, 2010.
Right. So back then, the world was a totally different place, hands down. So would you say um the LBGT community has it easier now than then, or what? How would you feel about that?
Um, no, I don't think so. I think they're, uh, I don't, like easier is like a hard word to explain. I think there's a lot more visibility now. I think I think kids, I would say kids have it a little easier in terms of having more role models to look up to. And, there's the discussion around a lot of things when it comes to being queer. Like, um, it's being spoken about more. So like when we were kids, it was like almost not talked about it, and it was like a taboo thing. Like, oh my god, that person's gay. Like, oh, there's a gay person. Like that's the first gay person I've ever seen. Now that's not the case. Like, gay people are on TV. Most people know a gay person. There's communities for it. I think there's still a lot of struggles, especially with like the trans community, the Black community. I don't think it's easier. I just think it's more visible. There's more resources and people are more aware
All right.
of it.
With that being said, like, how do you feel about the trans struggle being compared, or even the gay struggle? Like, that being compared to the Black struggle? Do you think that's a fair comparison?
No, I don't think there is a comparison. I don't They're separate struggles and they both should be valid. I don't think like what is the reason that people compare struggles? Like, what is that doing for anyone? What's the benefit of that conversation? Like, they should be looked at separately. Both have struggles, both have different struggles, both have different backgrounds. um there's like some conversations are just like, what's the point of this? You're not doing anything towards solving the problem. Why would we compare struggles in that way? uh, I would never compare them personally.
I
Clip
agree.
end episode. That's it. That's all. I agree. I agree.
You
I
said
said
that's all I wanted to know.
Word, I totally agree. It's two set. I'm not even saying that. I'll just say that there's two separate, different struggles, and you cannot compare the two. No debating. That's it. That's all.
Facts.
Yeah,
Totally agree with you.
and I have
Um,
both, so yay.
Yo,
Yo, for real, for real,
exactly.
for real, for real.
Exactly. Have you endured any discrimination, being that you are in a relationship with a woman, like, publicly? There always seems to be this misconception about racism, or being queer is like this thing where, you go outside and you're getting like trash thrown on you, or people are yelling like vulgar things out at you, just for holding hands in public. Is the misconception true? Or is it like have you experienced anything like blatantly just discriminatory?
I mean, yeah, I definitely, I mean, like, even just like walking down the street and I'm holding hands with my girlfriend and people are like trying to like catcall at you. That's like absolutely disrespectful. Clearly, I'm with the person I'm dating. So, like, in terms of that, yes. I don't think I've never had any, I've never feel like I've been harassed because of it, but I also think that's a product of where I live. Like, New York City is definitely, one of the better areas to be queer and be living in terms of, what they're open to, and just there's such a large queer presence here. I think I would experience that more if I lived somewhere else. Like, I lived in Philly prior, kind of same thing there. There's a big gay culture there, and, city of brotherly love and all that. If I was living in, you know, I'm not even going to say a place, but if I was living somewhere else, that may not be the case. I know people that have experienced harassment because of it. I know people that have been like products of hate crimes because of it. I do feel it is something that makes me more conscious of my surroundings. And that's like, I can't separate whether that's because I'm queer or it's because I'm Black. I'm just, there's people targeting both sides of me. So just, I'm always kind of alert because of that.
Hmm. Any kind of like assault or anything like that based off of
Not
either one of
assault,
those?
but I would say like, light verbal harassment. I mean, I think that's something you get as a woman
A woman, yeah.
in general, often, unfortunately. So I can't say what the specific reason was, or, was it because I was gay, or was it because I was Black, or was it because I was a woman? Um, but yes,
Gotcha.
and I would say that's probably like true for 100% of women.
Right, right. Okay.
One thing that I've been noticing, and I didn't have this growing up. You didn't really have it growing up either. None of us did until like I'll say last year, year before maybe. This whole pronoun thing. What are
Okay.
your views about expressing your pronouns? How you feel about that?
I have my pronouns labeled everywhere. So I am pro pronouns. I think it's important that people be called by the pronoun that they identify as. I try to, anytime I start a call, I try to remember to say what my pronouns are. I like when I call a company and they ask me, what do you want to be referred to as? Because it should be your choice. I think it's like I try to be conscious of that. So like for instance, I try not to refer to my team as hey guys, rather than that I say hey y'all. I sound crazy, but I say that often. Um so yeah, it's something I try to be cognizant of, and because a lot more people are choosing to go by different pronouns, whether it be he, she, they, I try to make a conscious effort to be aware of it. I will say it's not easy, and it's something. It definitely takes an adjustment to be aware of it, and correcting yourself when you do wrong. Um, yeah, it's something I've been more conscious of. I think as I've gotten deeper into the queer community and meeting people with different pronouns, and their reason behind it. Not that there needs to be a reason. If you want to be called he, she, they, that's your decision. But I think it's had a larger impact on me.
Used a good example. Hey guys. So I say that all the time, no matter the gender or sex. I'll be like, hey guys.
Hmm.
You feel like someone getting offended by that is just, in my opinion, that's just overly sensitive. If I was going to play ball right now and there was three women and five guys, and I'm addressing everybody, I was like, hey guys, what's up? Back in the day, clearly I'm talking to everybody.
Hmm.
Somebody were to lash out and say I'm not a guy, I would be like, yo, it's figure of speech. Like in my mind, I'll be like, yo, relax. I feel like I don't know. I just feel like
Uh,
pronouncing your pronouns is just like overly sensitive, in my opinion.
I was gonna go back to what Lauren touched on earlier about having too much freedoms. Like I think this is a prime example of too much freedoms.
Okay, so I would say if you are someone, that maybe presents as more feminine and want to identify as, let's say, he or they, that is something you're probably dealing with every day, all day, being misgendered and called the incorrect pronouns. So therefore, when someone says something, what might be simple to you as, hey guys, and that's a constant challenge that you're dealing with every day. I don't think that's being overly sensitive because you don't realize what that impact has on that individual. So it might be common phrase to you, might even be a common phrase to them, but when that's an everyday struggle for you, that hits differently. So you have to be aware of people's feelings in that moment. And I think like it goes back to like a mental health therapy, like validating someone's feelings. If anyone has a right to feel whatever that may be, and you don't have to agree with it, but it also takes like that second to step back and think, why is this person feeling that way? Like it can be something small to you, but this might be, they might be having a struggle at home where they're really trying to get their parents to identify with their correct pronoun, and that's something that's always on their mind. And then you saying, hey guys, is just like the cherry on top that puts them over the edge.
All right, that's a good comeback. Okay.
Yeah, with that whole thing, it's like I feel like with people's feelings and like they're everybody's entitled to feel the way that they want to feel, but I have a problem when it's like you're changing the entire dynamic of society's behavior, and like expecting people to uh play. See, that's the thing. I don't want to get
Conform.
into it. Well, I was just gonna say play make believe, but just based off of how they feel that day, because that's the thing that seems to be happening, where it's like they could change, the way that they feel day to day, and it's like, okay, you even said it yourself, Christina, that it's a challenge, and it can become difficult to constantly be aware of, like, okay, am I going to offend this person because I called them a she the day before, but then today they want to decide that they want to be they, you know what I mean? So it's like, how long are we going to be playing hopscotch for other people's feelings? It's like they should be also considerate of our feelings, of how like we shouldn't have to constantly. It just seems like an unnecessary thing when you could just generalize and say hi, or you don't even have to include it. Just say, hey, how's it going?
And
You know,
I don't think anyone has an issue with you not including it. I think that's ultimately the easier solution for everyone. Like we should have never had the phrase "Hey guys," and I think if you like look behind the history of "Hey guys," it's probably because the conversations where that started were men, you know. So I mean, even referring to women as, hey guys, there's probably, I mean, there's definitely some issue with that as well. I'm sure the origins of that phrase happened in a room full of men that were making the decisions. So
Oh, absolutely.
there's
Absolutely.
that, and then like I don't think, I mean, I'm sure there's one-off cases, but I don't think there's anyone that's like flip-flopping day to day. Like, I want to be he, she, they today, and tomorrow I want to be something different. I don't think that's something that really happens. I mean, I'm sure it happens, but I don't think that is the majority of people. And like you said, I think the solution is like, if you don't want to, I guess, for lack of better words, be worried about it, then you can refer to anyone as they. Like, people act like it's so hard to refer to people as they, but when you're talking about someone you don't know, like for instance, I read something that was an example of like something lost. And you're returning it, like let's say you're returning it to like a front desk, and when you're speaking about that thing and that person, you referring to as they. You're like, hey, they left this upstairs. I'm not sure whose it is. They, you know, left it in the bathroom, and you don't think anything of it, and everyone knows, okay, you're talking about a person, obviously you don't know their gender, so you're referring to that person as they, and that's normal. But then for some reason, when it comes to referring to an individual person, because you see them physically, you think you know, automatically identify them with certain pronouns. Now using they is like unheard of. Like, why would I ever need to do this? Because obviously they're he, she, you know, whatever.
I think it's just more so the fear of what it's going to lead to, because you do have those cases where people are flip flopping, and then it's like, okay, when is enough enough? And I
Name
think
one case where someone is flip-flopping.
I didn't come prepared for that.
That's fair.
There's a lot of frustration behind it, just because of what it could potentially lead to, just based off of the potential of somebody constantly flip flopping.
I think Sean is referring to Canada, how they have like laws set where you could like go to jail or be fined if you misgender someone, which is wild.
That is definitely
But
an example.
I know you're familiar with the DSMs, and they were this type of behavior, which isn't a behavior anymore in this world we live in, was identified as a mental illness. So you would say that someone born as a male wants to be a female, you would not identify that as a mental illness, is what you're saying.
No, not at all. Wouldn't even question that.
All right. I have no follow up with that. I just wanted to know how you felt. I'm dead ass.
Yeah, that's
Um
fair.
with So with that being said, I saw a video. This guy was basically like, I've like analyzed it a lot myself, and there are loopholes as to what he's saying. But he basically said if there was two males in a room, so picture two males in a room right now.
Hmm.
One is a male, identifies as a male, know he's male, has a dick and all that shit. Other one identifies as a female, gets surgery, and is basically a woman now.
Hmm.
If a nuke went off, both of them died in the same place they're at.
Hmm.
People come from wherever and identify, they see bones on the ground. They got two, let's say they got two femurs. It's of both of the people that were there. If they were to do testing on both of those femurs, it would come back as two males, not a female and a male.
Okay.
So, with that being said, I feel like a lot of, because I know Sean would agree with this, but on that side of the coin, because I'm in the, it's like it's not confusing to me, but I'm always the type to get down to the nitty gritty at the end of the day. I'm the at the end of the day person.
Hmm.
You're I'm not saying it's a mental illness. I gotta. I wish I was like I had like this shit written out, but going off the top of my head, at the end of the day, if we're all back to bones, you are what you are when you come into this earth. Now you could say you feel this way, and maybe you do. I'm not inside your body. I don't know. But at the end of the day, when we're bone turning into dust, you come into this world as you are. There's like no debating that. So, with the other side of the coin saying, as you know, there's two sides. There's one side saying, if a male right now says I'm a female, then they are that. And that's it. Okay, cool. On the other side of the coin, they're saying that's not true because at the end of the day, if you were to do testing on their bones, whenever, it's going to say that that person is still a male.
I mean, like really male and female, what is that? Like that's something that we, made those words, that's not something like it's really at the end of the day, it's you either have two X chromosomes or you have an X and a Y. And we could easily refer to things like that in the future, and maybe that is something that happens in the future, like rather than saying, oh, this is a male skeleton and this is a woman skeleton, it's like, oh, this skeleton had two X chromosomes and this person had X and Y, because really that's interchangeable with what we're currently using as male and female.
But there's like
It's a distinction. It's a pure distinction between two genders. I mean, like that's what it is.
And the distinction is the chromosomes. That's scientifically that is what makes a male and a female according to science.
right. So now, and this goes back to another point I was saying. If that's the case, and it's the correct me if I'm wrong. So you're saying it shouldn't just exist. The terms male and female, it shouldn't exist anymore.
I don't think that's what I'm saying, and I don't know that I have the best answer for this, but I think that is your biology. Like your
Okay.
biology and what you want to call yourself. I don't think they need to be the same.
Okay, so that's
Yeah.
the distinction. Okay.
Yeah.
Because I was gonna say, if that's the point, then going back to the hey guys thing, if I'm going to say hey guys, then it truly, if we're doing this and we could say what wherever we are, whatever we are, then it doesn't matter if I say hey guys, because
Right.
the male and female thing doesn't exist anymore. The gender roles doesn't exist anymore. So guys is just a term. That's another pronoun, guys. I want to
Right.
be
Well,
referred
how
to
can
as
we never say like "Hey, girls" to guys? It's if it was being used,
Sometimes we do. Sometimes we do in
that's
a joking way.
and why does
right.
it need to be a joke?
How come guys can't be a joke? Like,
But
why does everything have to be a battle? That's my thing. You know.
no, I know if we're going to use it like across all people, I think it would be different if we were using "Hey, girls" just as often as we're using "Hey, guys" as the universal term, but we're not. Like, look at your reaction when I say "Hey, girls." It's like, oh, but we do use that. It's a joke though when we use that.
Right.
If that's your first thought about it, then it's not being used the same way.
Well, it's because of history. That's why. It's like how you pointed out earlier. Is like, okay, males must have coined that term. A
Right.
room full of males. So it's like, why? I could always go back and like bring up the exact questions that you're throwing at me. To say like, okay, why did you bring up that example of like a room full of males? And it's like because that's how things were. That's how things always have been.
That's
So
how things still are.
that's true. That's how things still are. And it's like, and I believe that's the reason why there's that pushback for this gender ideology where it's like, I mean, not gender ideology, but just the pronoun thing where it's like, I feel like my personal opinion is just an unnecessary thing, and I believe that's a case in point of just having too much freedoms. There's other things that we could be challenging or facing it, but instead everybody wants to be hypersensitive over things like that, like terminology. Like, what are you going to call me?
My last point with this is just that I feel like this is going to be like a never ending battle
Right.
because the world has been the way it was for so long. Not saying it can't change, but for it to change, it's going to take a long ass time. Even if like I wish I wrote it down, but going into a hospital, let's say I don't know somebody got shot, knowing if somebody is a male or a female is gonna set their course on how they're gonna maybe operate or I don't it's just like you can't just nullify that shit and say, well, it doesn't exist anymore. So, it doesn't make sense. Our whole living is based off of technically being a male or a female. That's how it all starts. Dick and a vagina.
I feel like it just overcomplicates things. Like you get shot in in your stomach or whatever, you're female, and it's like, oh, now you're potentially not gonna have kids anymore. But you're like, hey, I was a male anyway, so even though I had ovaries, and it's like these things define who you are, and it's like just I don't know. I don't agree with the whole like I should be able to just call myself whatever I want and everybody has to agree with it. You know, like it's I don't know. It overcomplicates things in my opinion.
I'm always like the mediator and shit. So let's say I have people who are for and against it standing, and I'm in the middle right now. If so, pro pronouns, pro I'm a female, even though I was a male before. If you can come up with this, and I'm not talking about you specifically, Christina, not this is like in general.
Hmm.
If you can come up with like theories, ideologies, a book or something with no loopholes in that shit and prove as to how this will benefit the whole entire planet and human race as a whole, then yeah, I got it. But until then, they, and kind of including me too, is going to keep semi fighting back because in our mind, a lot of what, and I'm not trying to throw you in there because there's probably things you don't agree with too. But the people that are 100% pro, there are things in that realm that just don't make sense. I feel like that's like the whole argument for the people who disagree. There's many things that just don't make sense. So if you can help us to make it clear in our minds, then we might roll with y'all. But until then, we're just gonna keep disagreeing until we find a common ground. But in my mind, I know how humans are. We're never gonna find a common ground. We're always gonna keep fighting over this shit.
I don't think I have the right information to correctly defend how I want to say. Like as an example, and then I think we should move on.
Word.
Is that like okay? Let's say let's like kids. So like they're using this like let's say in school now, and there is a kid that is was born and identified as male, and wants to be female presenting and truly believes they were born in the wrong body pretty much because that's what most kids think that do become trans and like change their gender, or I don't even know if I'm saying most is the correct thing, but let's say that's the example.
Okay.
So for them being misgendered is that's that is a something they need to they are battling with mentally every time they're misgendered. So having the correct pronouns for them could be almost life and death if that's something that is impacting their mental health every time it happens. And like the percentage of kids, for example, that commit suicide because of instances like this is so high. So I do think it's really important. It's not something that could just be brushed off.
All right. I hear you.
I'm gonna just say whatever happened to kids just being kids. You know,
That's
I
what I'm
think
saying. Like the world we're in now is just so different.
so
Bro,
different.
I was trying to hustle off Pokemon cards and shit for gushers. Like I wasn't worried about how I feel. But then to play devil's advocate, maybe Steven, who was in my classroom, was battling with this, but never said anything because he would have got bullied for it. But then at the same time, it's like my nigga just play Pokemon. I don't know. That's what I'm
Yeah,
saying.
change
It's
is
like
change is good though. Like think of this is like the exact same positions our parents were in with us. Like they're thinking the same thing. Why couldn't we just be kids? Like what is normalized to us of what a kid should be doing is not the same of what our parents think and not the same of what their parents think kids should be doing.
I feel like this is different though. I don't think like discussing your sex and your gender and all the stuff like that. It should not be talked about in pre-K. Should
Why
not be
not?
because you're not. The thing is, it's like you're taking away the innocence of a child's like life right there, by introducing these things and then questioning them about all this stuff, and it's like it's unnecessary at that point. They don't even comprehend or even care, for the majority, like they're too young. You're just learning how to speak. Why introduce these things at this point? It's unnecessary in my opinion. Let them be a
I
kid.
think I think kids are smarter than you think, especially these days.
Yeah, but that's the thing. It's because they're getting introduced to these adult themes and like all this stuff, and it's just like I said. Why?
So
What is
they
so
so
wrong
that's the thing.
with
They
with
are
kids
getting
just being kids?
introduced to all of these things, which is why they need to be knowledgeable of these things because they're getting exposed to things so much sooner. Like they have cell phones at first grade, so they have access to so much more. So with having access to so much more, you need to have knowledge about so much more in order to be able to digest that. I think we didn't have these conversations because we weren't exposed to it. So we didn't need to have the conversations. But now kids are being exposed to it so much sooner. So like they need to be armed with the correct information to be able to digest it.
I agree with both of y'all,
Yeah,
but
I was gonna say destroy cell phones and stop giving your kids iPads.
Absolutely.
if only it was that simple.
So
But like for what Christina is saying, and I agree with this 1,000%. You gotta, in order to know real shit from bullshit, you gotta have the education behind it. You have to have self knowledge and like know, all right. And this is where it's like a double edged sword. You have to know, like, all right, this seems a little blah. Let me do research on it. All right, now I see, oh, that's really right. Okay, so this source is cool. But at the same time, somebody in pre-K ain't thinking about that shit. They're thinking about, yo, when it's snack time or I want to play with the blocks.
dead
I
ass.
feel like, and it's and this is what I'm saying. Like I agree with both of y'all. Christina, it is the world that we're living in, and you want to give your kids that knowledge, but at the same time, you are taking innocence away from them because now they're exposed to a realm like yo, I wasn't even maybe I saw some stuff on TV on BET by accident, but I wasn't even allowed to watch that shit when I was like 5. I know some people are exposed to it, but me, I wasn't. I wasn't thinking about sex until like nigga, I was playing Mega Man and shit. Like
Or
it wasn't like instilled in me to think that way yet. I feel like exposing the kid to this at pre-K, kindergarten, that's like they don't even know if they like vegetables yet. So how are you gonna teach them, yo, do you think you're a boy or girl? It's like, dog, I don't
How
need
deep are these conversations really getting with preschoolers? I don't think they're getting deep enough for them to know. I think it's very surface level. And the
but
other thing I'll point out is
that's
like you're saying innocence, but like when you're saying innocence, it sounds like more you're using that word kind of as naive rather like what is innocence is relative. Just because
mm,
a child is thinking to ask someone's pronouns, how does that doesn't get rid of someone's innocence just because they
well,
have, more information about something. That's like saying someone is aware of a kid's, parents got divorced and now they know all about divorce. So, they're exposed to something that their classmates might not be. I don't think that's like taking away their innocence. I think it's a reality. It's something like kids are experiencing it. So if someone in your classroom is experiencing it and you're not, I don't think that's getting rid of your innocence. I just think you're, like you're aware. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if I'm using the right words.
right. Nah, you are. And again, I will agree with you, but like you said, so I don't want to use divorce as an example because that's like bad. I'm gonna try to use something neutral.
Okay, that's
If
fair.
you got 2 kids, one knows about
Even sex, like sex isn't bad. Sex is good.
yeah,
Like,
but I'm not trying to walk into my fucking goddaughter at 6 years old fucking somebody. Like it's
oh
like
no, yeah,
you don't need
no.
to be doing that. So I guess we can use that. There's just, and this is where we can agree to disagree, and many people will. At certain ages, you shouldn't be exposed to certain things. Now, you said surface level education, which is cool, but at the end of the day, at the surface, there's more below. So you might intrigue a kid. Hey, I got access to a phone. Pronoun gender. What's that? I don't know. I don't really know how to spell it, but let me try typing it in Google. Boom. Now their eyes are
Okay.
open to more. It's like and I don't want to bring religion into it. I'll just use it as an example. Eating the apple. It's like before they ate the apple, they didn't know shit. They was just two butt ass naked humans doing whatever the fuck. They ate the apple. They were like, oh, I got a dick. You got a vagina. Like what the fuck, bro? Let me cover
Okay,
myself
I
up.
have an example I want to throw out. So I'm gonna do something. Okay, let's say like a holiday. So let's say you're talking to a kid about a holiday, well, Christopher Columbus, let's say. And so, using them kind of similarly, not something they knew about before, not ruining their innocence by telling them about Columbus Day, telling them about the holiday and teaching them at that age, probably very surface level information. Is that just assuming like they're going to dive deeper into that? Is that assuming they're going to find out all the actual history about Christopher Columbus? Like, is that assuming they're going to know that like Christopher Columbus came and like stole land from the natives? Probably not.
yeah, you like to think
What?
probably not, but then the thing is, like, they might. is like, it shouldn't even be a thing. You know, it shouldn't even be introduced. And it also is like, a lot of that stuff that you saying is surface level is not surface level. They're discussing genitalia. And it's like, at pre-K, you don't need to. I mean, like, yeah, you should understand I got a penis and she got a vagina. Sure, okay. But I don't think it's up to the schools to introduce that. Your parents should be telling you that. That's a whole nother thing. With schools taking the liberty of saying, okay, it's our job to introduce that, is wrong, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think that's like a whole nother conversation in terms of like what's taught at home versus schools, because I
Yo,
think people can
facts.
argue both ways. Not everyone has a stable parent that is teaching them this thing. So, some
True.
things do need to be learned at school. I don't know, that conversation could go like 1,000 different ways.
Yeah. That's the
Sex
thing.
ed, that was introduced to me in like high school, I think freshman year. No, well, I knew, like, obviously I knew about it when I in like fifth grade ish, but
Mhm.
truly introduced freshman year of high school. Now, if I were to talk to my mom about it, she's limited on her knowledge, and she's only giving me what she knows from a woman's point of view. I'm a
Mhm.
male, so I would want it from a male's point of view as well, and I got that from the school I went to.
So it could go
So
both
That's a
ways.
great point.
so now that's what I hate that I'm agreeing with both of y'all again. I seem like
No,
a
but
hoe right now.
no, but that's good though, bro. See, the thing is though, like, hey, Christina, I got no animosity towards you, and I respect your opinion like 100%. Well, maybe 90%, but like, it's. I think it's important though that we are having these discussions, and that's what it's all about, getting it out
Yeah.
there, and that's the thing, And we're able to have these different points of views, and that's super important. So.
Yeah,
Yeah,
everyone doesn't need to agree on everything. Like, you just need to respect each other's opinion. Like,
word.
100%. No, I'm just kidding.
Yo, yeah, nah, that's why another reason I wanted to have you on here, and I told Sean this before that I'm like, yo, unless you're on here like trying to ruin her name and say things that aren't true about her, she's gonna hear you out, hear your opinion, say her opinion, and then agree to disagree, and that's it. So I'm glad that we could, because a lot of people can't have this conversation without somebody getting tight or wanting to leave or getting offended.
Word,
It's like, yo, we can
for
just
sure.
simply agree to disagree. And I know Christina's mad good at doing that. And it's you really can't offend her unless you really on her wilding. You know what I mean? That's why I'm glad I got her on here.
That's missed a lot. Like, the first thing I think of is like politics. Like, I think like once someone has like and I don't want to take this conversation political by no means, but like, but like once someone has like their mind made up about thinking about something a certain way, they only read resources that like back that up, so that is the right way to them. Like, I feel like a lot of people don't listen to the other side of the story, so they're like not getting the full picture. So yeah, exactly. Like having these type of conversations, like being able to educate yourself on both sides and understanding both sides is important when forming any opinion.
Right,
Facts.
right. All right, real quick on politics though, because
No,
I feel
no. Don't
it's
do it.
not nothing crazy, not no Trump Biden shit. It's more like a would I be wrong in saying that? So this is how I think in my mind. There is no Republicans, there is no Democrats when they run for office. They're all on the same team. Would you agree to that or disagree?
Elaborate.
For example, you got I hate to say it, but you got Trump and Biden. Both shitty people. I don't fuck with either of them. I didn't even vote.
Yeah.
Mm.
At the end of the day, I feel like they don't see red or blue. They just see green. That's their primary quota. That's their agenda. Do they care about their citizens? I mean, maybe, possibly. But I feel like we're not their primary agenda at the end of the day. They're only thinking about money. That's why I'm like, I'm neither a Republican nor a Democrat. And furthermore, for people saying that you're voting for lesser two evils for this past election, I hate when people say that when there's other candidates running and they get overlooked because there's only two people that they see on TV. Like a voter, they'll see two people on TV and say, "Hey, I got to vote for them and them only." When it's like, "Hey, there's a Jill Stein who's running too, and she's not as shitty as Trump or Biden." But niggas don't vote for her. It's like you can't say I'm
Yeah.
voting for lesser of two evils when there's one who's possibly not evil, but you don't know that because you're not doing the education and shit. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, that's all like, I mean, one, education being the biggest thing, but also like money at the end of the day, like you said, politicians that get on TV are because they have the most money for campaigning and all of that. So those are the people that have the highest chances. Those are the people that people see. So those are the people that people vote on. There's always candidates that you just know are not going to make it far enough because they aren't able to campaign. So they're not getting that information out. There's uneducated voters that are only going off of the top two. They don't even consider the other people. There's like so many things that play into that. But I still think at the end of the day, like voting is still important. It's like it's a right we have, it's a freedom we should be using. Like I think the best analogy I've heard in terms of voting is when it comes to voting, it's like getting on a bus. Like you're trying to get somewhere, there's two buses, and you want to get on the bus that is going to take you closest to where you're trying to go. So that's how, like I think like in a simplified way, that's how I think about voting. It's like, okay, I've got two major candidates here that I need to vote against. Which one's going to get closest to, what I would like to see the country to look like, and that's who you vote for. And you need to do your research before making that decision. Like you're never going to 100% agree with a president. You're never going to 100% agree with anyone. So it's like, what's going to get me closest to where I'm trying to go, or who in this case.
Do you believe that corporations are actually making the calls, like when it comes to either party, either Republican or Democrats?
Oh, for sure. Like companies send people to lobby for things that are important to their company, and that will make them money at the end of the day. So I think yes.
Okay.
So you're saying you had a part in this? It's like, nah, fuck you. He's like, I'm not even close to being at that level yet. But maybe
I am a
in 10
pawn,
years.
yes. But no, yeah, like companies lobby for laws that benefit them at the end of the day.
Facts.
Yeah. So that's like why I agree with Loren, like with what's the point of even voting for either one of those two parties when you have the independent party, which has like tons of better ideas, policies, but it's like you can't even do it because they're not even, like you said, they're not even making it public where you don't even know about them. You are like voting for the greater of two evils.
Yeah, and that's comes down to being on an individual basis. I think I think people need to be more invested in voting, and not even like I think we're just talking like very presidential it seems, but like even like voting for your mayor, voting for your local officials, people just don't do the research. And I mean myself included, I should be doing more than I am, and I think we just like as a society need to be more educated on it, I think.
I was gonna say that's a huge point though, because like if you vote more on a local level, those are the things that are gonna directly affect your community. Like
exactly.
voting for the right mayor. Yeah, so facts on that.
I'm gonna take an extra political MAGA 2020. It's like nah. It's like nah.
I was gonna say I'm done. Signing off.
Signing off. Good night. Yeah, nah. If he ran again, I would be highly shocked, but hopefully he doesn't. Like I will say, when Trump was in office, my money was right. And the gas was not looking how it was now, but he really had niggas out here wilding, bro. Like he was saying very outlandish shit. And like I remember when he got voted in, there was like somebody was talking about a experience their friend had. These people came by in a truck that had like MAGA flags, and he was like, "Trump is in office now, niggas. What are y'all gonna do now?" It's like, come on, bro. We can't go back to that.
Yeah.
Word.
Like, ooh, yikes. I don't even want to comment on that, but I don't want that. That's all I'll say.
Yeah, hell no. That's what I'm saying. It's like pros and cons.
Yeah.
Pros and cons, but it is what it is. End of the day,
the like outright racism is, and I don't even know that it was more of it. I just think it was more visible and people were more comfortable. And like that doesn't mean it wasn't there before. It just was more hidden, and that's the scary part.
Yeah, I remember my coworker at a hospital. She was like, "I don't like living in the North as much as the South," and I was like, "Why?" She was like, "Yeah, it might be better, but you don't know who's fake or not." Back
Yeah,
where I'm from,
exactly.
she was like, "Back where I'm from, if you walk into a store, then white people will call you a nigger and keep moving. Here, I don't know if they're saying it in their head." I'm like,
Yeah, exactly. It's scary.
shit crazy out here. The fact that that still is like a thing is, how is racism still a thing? Like, bro, it's not gonna go away. There's gonna be black, brown, purple, red, green people. It doesn't fucking matter. It's not going away, bro. Just accept it.
I don't think so either, unfortunately. People love to find a reason to be able to disagree with someone for
That's a fact.
whatever it is.
Well,
I
Age,
said,
color, sex,
word. I think I said to Sean like months back, even if we were all the same skin color, we would find ways to hate on each other because of our hair.
Yeah.
Word.
but that's the thing. Is there anything? I don't know, man. I don't think there's anything really wrong with that. You know, I know I sound crazy right now, but I feel like, yeah, we're gonna have differences, and it's like, yo, you know how racist you are when you sitting in traffic. That's my bottom line right there.
I've never heard that in my life.
That's hilarious.
Think about it, yo. When is the last time you were driving? Like, Christina, you drive, right?
Yep.
All right, so you driving down the highway, and then somebody cut you off. Think about it. That's what I'm saying. It's like
I'm my
the
worst
first
self in traffic.
that I think, but that's who we are, though. That's what I'm saying. It's like, yo, anybody listening, man, that's who you are, and it's okay. You know, it's okay to be a little racist, man. Like, Asian lady cut me off, I'd be like, you fucking can't drive because you can't see, motherfucker. You know.
Yo, that's how racist you are. Yo, you know what's crazy?
I don't know if I agree with all that.
Word. Like, bro,
That's a different level.
that's
Yeah.
like,
That's who I am.
oh,
My
that's
girlfriend's Asian, by the way.
oh
So
shit. Oh fuck. We gotta.
definitely don't co-sign on that.
You're breaking up. I can't. Yo, yo. So like, if we're going off of that example,
Yeah.
then I guess I'm not. If somebody cuts me off, I won't say a racial slur. I won't say like,
Wait, can I cut you off real quick?
yeah.
Because I think what you say in your car to yourself and what you say to the public are completely different things. Like, okay, you're I'm not going to use the example of race. I'm going to use, let's say, age. Like, you're making that comment about someone older, they can't drive, whatever. Maybe you're saying in your car, okay, it's because they're old, they can't drive, but like what I think what draws the difference is what you're putting into action. Like, okay, you can say that in your car, you can even think that, like, whatever, it's human nature. Like, we're not all going to agree, we're all going to have like biases for one, bias. I think that's come up a lot. Like, biases is a thing, you have biases, but what you put into action because of that, like, are you harming someone? If you're impacting someone's life, then that's when it's an issue.
Right, I agree.
Okay.
Yeah.
I agree. That's facts.
So you could be your worst self in your car, cool, whatever. But if you're being your worst self in a room full of people and making those same comments and you're impacting someone else, that's when it's an issue.
I'm saying if somebody steps on your sneakers.
I'm definitely not making a racial slur if someone steps on my sneakers. Like,
Yeah,
I'm mad at you because you stepped on my sneakers, not because you're whatever race you are.
Yeah, I was just playing.
Brian.
Gotta have a little fun.
But yeah, no, I hear you.
Oh
Yeah.
shit.
In your car, do whatever you need to do to get through traffic.
Appreciate you.
Wow. That's a funny ass example, bro. We've been friends for years and I never heard you say that ever. That shit is hilarious.
I'm gonna use that for sure.
Yo, that ass.
Yo, you're welcome to appreciate it even more.
Yeah, I'd say my ending phrase would be, love thy neighbor. We don't have to agree with them, but we should respect other people. I think the world needs more respect, and respect is definitely earned and not given, but there needs to be a level of like the golden rule out there. That's my be kind,
I agree. It just sucks that people can't do that shit. Like, imagine if the world just accepts the fact that you can agree to disagree and to mind your business.
And to mind your business, exactly.
Word. Be a much better place. Yeah, you can disagree with me, whatever. You could even call me names, but just keep it moving, bro.
Right. Just don't touch me.
Word.
That's the thing. Don't touch me.
Don't touch me. That's the name of the episode. Don't touch me. And then we talk about Christina's life. They're gonna be like, "What does this have to do with anything?" Until they get to the last minute.
The last minute.
Yeah, I'll label it that. I don't care.
Yo,
semicolon. Don't touch me.
Don't touch me, man.
That's the theme. That's the overall theme.
Don't touch me.
But yes, thank you for joining us again.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah, no, this is great. This is fun.
Part 2 coming soon. Alrighty. Have a good day.
Have a good Sunday.
You too.
You too.
See ya.
Bye. Thank you.
Peace.